Miss Wiley, hello.
Hi, come on in.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here in South Bromsgrove English Department to ask you and your department 23 questions. So, English literature and English language at A-level. What can I expect?
Well, ultimately, they're both really interesting, fascinating subjects. In both of them, you get to think about the really kind of big questions, the big ideas in life. In literature, you actually start to think about the human condition, what it is that makes us human. And in the English language, you're actually thinking about the way that we speak and the way that language shapes the world around us. Really big ideas.
Interesting. So, what's the difference between English literature and English language?
Well, English literature is kind of an extension of what you've already been doing at GCSE. So if you've enjoyed studying a Shakespeare play, the novel, plays and poetry, then you're going to enjoy English literature. It's even better though because you get to study more challenging, interesting, varied text, and you get to really delve into them and understand them. Not to mention studying things across time periods from 13th century to 21st, which make that fab. English language, though, is nothing like anything that you've studied before, so don't compare that in any way to your GCSE. It's almost kind of more scientific and psychological. What you do is you're studying how we acquire language from infancy, how we speak to each other every day. You're also thinking about how language has changed over time, and how it's fraught with kind of power and gender stereotypes and things like that. So it's really, really interesting. It's probably worth noting as well that some students actually take both because they are complementary but also very, very different to each other.
Amazing. So, why is English such an important subject to study at A-level?
It's not a coincidence that you've been studying English since a very, very young age, all the way through primary school, and it's a compulsory subject now at GCSE. It's because it's a really, really important one, and you're learning at A-level, you're developing those essential life skills and universal skills to a much higher level. So things like creative independent thinking, high-level writing that will be really useful for you at degree level if you were going to go and do an undergraduate course, and also empathy skills to a high level, etc. So they're really, really developing key universal skills.
Perfect. And I think that kind of answers my next question about why do universities and employers find English literature and language so appealing?
It's probably worth noting that English literature is a facilitating subject, so it's seen as an academic important subject and will help you if you wanted to go to a Russell Group university. But like I said, you are going to be showing universities that you are able to write and articulate your ideas to a really high level, as well as think independently and critically. They're key skills for any university course.
So if I do choose to come to South to study English, what extracurricular opportunities have you got available for sixth form students?
In the past, we've done quite a few different things. We've taken students to the museum, even the library in Birmingham, to the theatre, we've had a reading group, we go to lecture days as well, and we organise every year an English language conference, which is has guest speakers from Birmingham University, which is really good.
Sounds brilliant. And if you had to recommend one book for everyone to read, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a horrible question to ask an English teacher, but I think I would recommend something that might take you out of your normal comfort zone and experience. So I'd probably recommend The Colour Purple by Alice Walker, because it's probably unlike other things that you've read. It's really very, very interesting and shocking at the same time. And it's a book that I actually read at A-level and I've never forgotten.
Sounds like a must read. So where would I go if I want to know a bit more about English language at A-level?
Well, I know just the people. Follow me. Let me introduce you to some of our A-level English language teachers, Miss Talbot and Mrs. Blount.
Hi both. So Miss Wiley tells me that you are the people to talk to when it comes to A-level English language. Miss Talbot, what can I expect from the course?
I think what you can expect from the course is absolute diversity and something that you really haven't experienced at GCSE. So we'll be looking at a huge range of texts and range of topics. We'll be looking at spoken language, how you speak. We'll be looking at how language has developed over time. We'll be looking at the differences between the way that men and women speak and how children learn language over time.
That sounds brilliant, Miss Talbot. So, Mrs. Blount, what are some of the key differences between English language at GCSE and A-level?
At A-level, you will look at language in a much more forensic way, looking at language under the microscope, really thinking about how language works within different texts and different contexts. Another key difference is looking at language in use. We get to look at, like Miss Talbot said, language in real life. We look at how gender works, accent and dialect. We look at power. We look at child language acquisition. All of the different issues that perhaps you don't cover at GCSE, so much more diversity.
So, English literature?
Follow me. Let me introduce you to some of our A-level English literature teachers. We've got Mrs. Durrant, Mr. Holt and Miss Johnson.
Hello everyone. I've been told some of the key differences between English language and literature, but what can I expect from English literature at A-level?
Students can expect to study a minimum of 8 texts across the genres of poetry, prose and drama, including at least 2 examples from each of those genres, and learn to analyse and evaluate literary contexts and the content of those texts from across different time periods and genres.
Brilliant. And what sort of texts am I expected to study?
Well, first of all, we've got some drama. A couple of examples would be Hamlet, obviously by Shakespeare, but a much more modern text, something like Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. And there's other modern drama like Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. We also got poetry, all the way from Chaucer, all the way up to much more modern like Caroline Duffy. And also we study genres of novels, so there's different ones that different teachers will pick. We might pick dystopian novels, including something like Handmaid's Tale. We might pick the Gothic, including things like Bloody Chamber. And finally, we might pick something like American literature, in which you look at a cortex like The Great Gatsby.
Brilliant. And finally, what are some of the key differences between English literature at GCSE and at A-level?
I would say that one of the main differences, leading on from what Mr. Holt was just saying, is the genre study. So students are able to fully immerse themselves in whichever genre that they happen to be reading at that time. So it's not just studying the one text. It's reading around, it's looking at critical interpretations, it's looking at how those texts would be interpreted during the time that they were written and the time that we're receiving them, which leads me on to context as well. We do look at context a little bit at GCSE, but I would say that context becomes really, really important at A-level, and to be able to understand those texts completely. And finally, I would say that it's much more independent at A-level. We expect our A-level students to be reading a lot and researching a lot, and it will help with their enjoyment of the texts as well.
Brilliant. And what are you reading at the moment, Miss Johnson?
I'm reading The Wild Silence by Raina Wynne.
Mr. Holt?
I'm reading Dune by Frank Herbert, iconic 1960s sci-fi novel.
And Mrs. Durrant?
I'm reading Finding Henry Appleby by Celia Reynolds, which is a more modern text, but I'm really enjoying it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, I think all my questions have been answered, but there is one more thing. Can I hear from some of the students about their experience at A-level?
I had a feeling you might ask. Come with me.
Hello both. So, Samantha, why did you pick English language at A-level?
I picked English language because I've always wanted to do it. I also really want to work with children when I'm older, and so the part of English language where you get to learn about the development of children's language really, really interested me.
Perfect. And Matt, why did you pick English literature?
Well, it was my best grade for one, and I've just always enjoyed English literature anyway, and it's something I'd like to pursue as a career.
Perfect. So for both of you, so Sam, if you go first, what's the most enjoyable part of your course?
Well, at the moment I'm doing language under the microscope, And so we're talking about lexical choices, semantics and pragmatics. And I really like the fact that we get to tell like everybody in the class, because our class is so small, we get to give our own opinions about everything, and we get to share everything in little groups and stuff.
Perfect. And Matt?
Well, there's much more discussion in English literature, whereas in GCSE it was all a case of, right, you've got this, I need you to do this independently, but it's a lot more like discussion involved in it, which is nice.
Brilliant. And final question, what was the most surprising thing about your course?
I'd say the most surprising part would be the fact that how much it differs from English language at GCSE. The topics you do are also different, so next year I'll be doing language in gender and power. That's really interesting to me. Probably that would be it.
Brilliant. And Matt?
Well, in English literature A-level, instead of just analysing like quotations and stuff, it's more a case of like, here's a quotation, add a little bit of context and look at more about the themes and try and tie that into it, which I think is obviously a step up, and it's just a lot more interesting that way.
Brilliant. That's amazing. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I really think I have a clear understanding of why English at South Bromsgrove is the choice for me. Any final pieces of advice for me before I get to sixth form?
I think give English and A-level in English some serious thought. I think we've shown you quite clearly that it's a really key, important subject and can support you in a whole range of jobs and careers that you might want to go into, even things like being a doctor or an engineer. Some of the skills that you need for those careers we kind of help support and develop. I would also say to read as much as you can. You've been recommended tonight lots of excellent books that you could go away and start reading. And finally, I would urge you to choose either English language or literature, or even both, on the Taster Day in January, so you get an idea of exactly what it is that we do and what we offer.
So I guess this is where I leave you. And finally, before I go, where can I get some more information about English A-level?
Have a look at the course guide that Mr Coates has sent out. That's got some key information. Talk to your English teacher, or you can come and see me. I oversee the provision of A-level English, so you're more than welcome to come and talk to me about anything.
And that concludes our 23 questions. It's been an absolute pleasure, Miss Wiley.
Thank you for visiting us, and I really look forward to working with you in September 2021.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.